Imagine a bank where you feel at home. Real people living right here in your community are the heart of Bank Independent and everything we do. Bank Independent. We're invested in you.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather, live at 5.
All right, it's currently live at 5 this afternoon with the latest forecast information. Let's go ahead and switch over to links too. We were having to rush and do all this.
There you go.
Last minute here, new warnings coming out and things like that. First off, thank you to the new sponsor we have, Bank Independent in North Alabama, on board with us now. We're certainly glad to have them. Severe thunderstorms over parts of northwest Alabama and northeast Mississippi. At the current moment, we have a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 o'clock here for northwest parts of Franklin County, west parts of Colbert County, western parts and northern parts of Lauderdale County for a couple of thunderstorms coming out of northeast Mississippi, moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour with the potential for some quarter to half dollar size hail, trying to catch my breath as we do all this as well. Then we have a new severe thunderstorm warning back there also for Tishomingo County in Mississippi for the storm south of Tishomingo. That's going to be until 5:30. We'll do a storm track on the lead when it's over Cherokee right now.
I might just hit this because it's right on.
Yeah, it looks like it's right on it. Cherokee, it's moving into your area over the next moment or so. That includes the high school and elementary school. Moontown at 5:12, Georgetown at 5:13, Smithsonian 5:13, Canaan at 5:16, Gravelly Springs at 5:19, Rhodesville at 5:20, Oakland at 5:21, Kimbrough Crossroads at 5:23, Central Heights and Central High School at 5:26, Stewartville at 5:27, and Threet at 5:29. Main concern here is gusty straight line wind 50 to 60 miles an hour and the potential for some quarter-size hail. We'll go down and look at the other thunderstorm in southern Tishomingo County that also has the potential for quarter-size hail and winds up to 60 miles an hour. This is coming up to the northeast as well. Taylor's going to draw a storm track on this here in times of arrival. Payton and Mingo in Mississippi, it's moving in now. Burnstown, 5:04, Minot at 5:07. Sorry, it jumped on me there. Bishop 5:07, Osboro 5:09, Midway 5:10, Malone 5:12, Mount Hester 5:16, Marjoram 5:18, Cherokee 5:19, Barton 5:21, Lane Springs and Smithsonian 5:26, Eastport 5:28, Riverton 5:28, and Waterloo at 5:32. Both of these storms should stay west of downtown parts of Muscle Shoals, Florence, Tuscumbia, and Sheffield. This should mainly be near and west of the Natchez Trace Parkway, give or take a couple of miles there. We'll clear off the track here at the Cherokee Live Skycam. You'll need to turn on the interactive toolbar there, Taylor, to do that.
Yep. 1 second on that. If I can find it.
It should say in capital letters, I think, severe coverage toolbar or something like that.
Nope, that's not it. There it is, right over here. I had to look. It was down on the list.
Yeah, we have multiple toolbars in the interactive thing. So, yep, that's the new one. All right, so here's a live look at Cherokee with the storms moving overhead. We've been looking at the updraft basis here as the storms have moved through. Current conditions here on top of the hill that's on the southeast side of Cherokee that's just south of Highway 72. You know, the big one with the big cell tower out there. 78 degrees with a dew point of 67. Southeast wind currently sustained at 10 miles per hour. Let's hit the Florence UNA camera and check out the shoals. Do a few current conditions, and then we'll switch over to Links 1. Now, this is looking back southwestward at some of these storms. 82 degrees here with a dew point of 69, so environment's primed here over northwest Alabama for thunderstorm development. It's just that the lifting mechanism to get them sustained is kind of marginal because we have a ridge of high pressure close by that's kind of putting a lid on the atmosphere. We got warm enough to break that capping lid today, but since they went up, they kind of tried to come down just a little bit, and they're struggling. We still have these severe thunderstorm warnings, but they're not really holding together as a long-lived supercell. South-southeast wind 5 miles per hour.
And look at the, you're talking about that, Fred. Look at the anvil right here.
Yes.
That's not extremely tall. And if you look at some of the radar, like when we did the storm track on that one with the skit, it had a height of about 30,000 feet. So they're not overly tall.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying. It's a case where they're trying, and they tried a little more than the forecast models thought they would and that we thought they would, but they're not fully successful in getting completely going, and especially not fully successful in being a tornado threat so far. We're still watching it carefully, though. We'll check out the Lawrenceburg Skycam in current conditions across southern middle Tennessee, and then we're going to switch just to the forecast graphics here. 81 degrees, a little more sunshine up here, but we have just had a heavy downpour come over the studios on Wickley Creek Road. Dew point 65. You see the live current conditions updating with the wind out of the south-southeast at 7 miles per hour. We'll switch back over to Links 1, and we'll just go through the weather show now here for the rest of the weathercast. And, well, let me back up. I thought my animation wasn't playing, but current temperatures across the area, low to mid 80s, except where we have a little bit of pocket of rain cool air over northeast Mississippi, where we've had a few supercells tracking through down to the mid to upper 70s. It's been a warm afternoon. Muscle Shoals Airport got to 87 this afternoon, feeling more like early June. You see, we do have a tornado watch. It's close to our viewing area. It's Hardin County, Tennessee, and Tishomingo County, Mississippi, that goes through the late evening. It's a PDS tornado watch, particularly dangerous situation. That's mainly for the higher tornado threat that's back over closer to Memphis, back in the East Arkansas. You can see tornado watches go all the way back over to just east of Fort Smith. We have a long way to go. It is still looking like the majority of the severe storms, the more intense ones, and especially the ones with the elevated tornado threat, do still miss us to the west, but we are having these few isolated evening supercells. And here's where we're watching things between now and 9 o'clock this evening. The higher threat of these isolated supercells tracking through in the orange here. In our viewing area, that's from Tishomingo County up to western Colbert County, western Lauderdale County, through Wayne County, western Lewis County, and then back westward through West Tennessee and North Mississippi. In these areas, there's higher chance between now and 9 o'clock of these storms with the potential for quarter to half dollar size hail, damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour, and there could be a couple of isolated tornado warnings, although in our local viewing area, we have not had tornado warnings as of yet. Keep in mind, our viewing area starts at Tishomingo County, Mississippi, and Hardin County in Tennessee. These additional counties outside of that, places like Booneville, Corinth, Selmer, Henderson, over to Lexington, Parsons, and the Linden area, those are buffer areas for an early heads up for our viewing area. That's why they show up on the map. Now, strong storms are still possible, and they could sneak as far east as places like Russellville, Phil Campbell, the Shoals Metro, Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, up to Columbia and Lewisburg between now and 9 p.m. These isolated supercells, and they would have the same threat. It's just there's a lower chance of them being in the yellow area versus the orange. Now, as we go into the overnight, the storms from back off to the west start to weaken as they move in. So they will be a shell of their former selves, where they're producing a higher tornado threat out near Memphis. They won't be that intense, but there could still be a few embedded supercells within a weakening band of thunderstorms, especially in these orange areas from north of Iuka back to Corinth, to Savannah, to Waynesboro, to Hohenwald, westward across West Tennessee and North Mississippi. But as a course of least regret, and just so you're not caught off guard, I can't rule out a few strong storms after midnight through sunrise, trying to sneak as far east as Cherokee, Red Bay, the Shoals Metro, Lawrenceburg and Loretto, to the west side of Pulaski, up to Lewisburg and Columbia. The yellow is a just in case for your safety, so you're not caught off guard. But I think the main chances will be in the orange area for the overnight. And even there, it's not a high severe weather threat. I don't think we're talking about long track type tornadoes. That threat's back in West Tennessee, but there could be a few warnings during the overnight. We'll have to watch it very carefully. Now, the thunderstorms shift back north Thursday and Friday, but I do think there's the chance still of a few isolated thunderstorms around. As we get into Saturday, the main storm system comes out, and especially Saturday night and the early Sunday morning, I think that's the best chance area-wide for us to see strong to severe thunderstorms across North Alabama and Middle Tennessee. And then we have a cooler pattern setting up behind that system as we go into early next week. And we'll show you that here in just a second. Temperature trend for the next 7 days. We're into the mid 80s all the way through Saturday before that cold front comes in. That knocks us back to the 60s for next week, maybe upper 50s for daytime highs early next week. And notice that we're getting back into the mid 30s Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning of next week. Maybe some patchy areas of light frost, much below average here across the southeast and the eastern United States. This is that classic pre-Easter cold snap across the eastern United States that we often have this time of year. So this is why we often tell you, don't plant sensitive vegetation before tax day, because things like this happen pretty often here in the Tennessee Valley in the southeast. Nothing unheard of by any means. Your hour by hour forecast for your Thursday, partly sunny to mostly cloudy. A few spotty thunderstorms can't be ruled out, but I do think they're shifting north of the area. Daytime highs into the mid, maybe upper 80s in a few spots tomorrow. We're going to hold that thunderstorm chance, though, just in case for Thursday and Friday, because like today, they developed a little farther east than what we were expecting. So it's a just in case, just like we did today as a just in case. We're going to hold the thunderstorm chance in there. Pay attention, because if there is a storm that gets in here, that could have small hail, gusty winds, that type of thing. What we're paying more attention to for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms is Saturday night into early Sunday morning. We think it's mainly a line of thunderstorms, but we'll watch it carefully. Damaging straight line winds, heavy rainfall, the primary threats, but there could be some degree of a tornado threat involved. Just a little too far out still for us to tell you if it's a lower end type threat or something a little more significant. We'll work out those details over the next day or two. Clearing and turning much cooler as we head into at least the first half of next week, if not a little bit longer than that. There's Look Your latest 7-day forecast. Barring any further warnings, we'll be back at 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock with forecast updates.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.